Howdy! Greetings.
All right, well, I am sort of here. It's been a bit of a morning. Not in too much detail necessary, just required. And the internet is absolutely terrible. But we're going to cross our fingers and go with it anyways. All right. Yay! Great team. Thank you very much for being willing to stick around. I do understand that I was very, very late. Excuse me. And we need to get this show on the road. So, let's go live, and I will show you what I'm up to. Hello, this is what you got. Good morning, team. Good morning, Raiders. Welcome on in. Thanks, Zerk. Thanks, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Welcome in, Gary. Good to see you. Ooh, nice picture. All right. And let's see what else we got. Hello, Zero. Good to see you. Thank you very, very much for the raid, Tom. You never have to hang around, and I really appreciate it when you choose to, and when your raider or when your viewers choose to. It's appreciated. Thank you very much, Gary, also for being the biggest fan on the current round. And what else have we got? First today. Okay, I think we've got everything. Maybe. If I missed something, just yell at me. I'll find it. And I'm going to be very, very itchy today. So, yes, announcing that in advance. Reason for that is... Oops, close. Reason for that is just because with the water restrictions and my ADHD combined, you know, worse than Captain Planet, I've been pushing off the laundry, and I thought I had more shirts, and then I didn't, and so I grabbed one that has recently been soaked for a spill, which is fine. It's just now that it's got some like residual soap in it, and that makes me itchy. That's okay. All right, howdy, howdy. So, Tom, please do tell me what you were working on today, because the stuff you do is interesting. Very Botley Crew, kind of confusing some days, but I want to hear it all. As I bring back, this is what we started working on last week, sort of. This is the Hogwarts, or Battle for Hogwarts, and we had 5 bags to work on, and we got through 4 of them. So that tied with the Owlery, which means that when we finish the bag that we've got today, then we can move right on into that Owlery. There we go. So it's a really neat build, and there's a lot of minifigs to go with it, which I will re-show as we get on the road. Now let's just see if we can figure out where we were. Lego. I need to interact with the instructions to figure out what page we're on, because, you know, that'd be useful. We're 3/4 of the way through, so that's going to take a little bit of scrolling. Fortunately, I don't have a scroll bar on the presentation window. Would be nice. Geek Out has shifted, looking at Pixar animation to fictional brands or companies. If we can beat that, more the merrier. I need bag. Oh, we did that one. So looking for the start of bag 5. Tom says he was scatterbrained, laying out where buildings need to go, then got sidetracked, spawn-proofing caves. Yeah, I totally understand that. I do that all the time. Oh, no, we're not far enough through. That's bag 4. Okay. Getting there. For those of you that are seeing the little character pop at the bottom of the instructions, you can see he's making his way across. And we're about halfway through this particular bar. Where's the bag 5? There we go. Excellent. What do we get here? Ah, one of the hench people. Who did they say this one is? Okay, no wonder I didn't know him. It's some guy named Scabior, which, I mean, he's a minor character, so I really wouldn't have any attention. The only way back towards, on the way back towards the base, came across a trial chamber wall. Ah, yep, that would be totally Distraction City. Totally Distraction City. Yeah, I am crying all around, shall we say, lately, just because I'm really behind in the progress that I wanted to make. But, like in Minecraft, but unfortunately, oops, there you go. But unfortunately, I squirrel a lot. It's like, oh, hey, this would be better on this floor. Oh, no, this would be better over here. And so I've ripped out some of the farms 3 times, I think. And, I've moved them up floors, moved them down floors. So yesterday on stream, we finally braved some of the lag and did, ooh, double heads. Haha, yes. Braved some of the lag and just dug out some walls. I mean, it was really exciting, in quotes. Yeah, I guess air quotes when I'm doing Lego doesn't work. But it was exciting because you didn't get to see a whole ton. And just for curiosity's sake, I was playing late last night, so hours later, even after AFK, the Enderman that we ran into yesterday is still stuck in the wall. Even though I water flushed him twice, he still keeps getting stuck in the same spot. Okay, so this is our Scabior guy's head. I'm showing you without the hair because he's got 2 faces to work with. But he does have printed pants. Very, very odd printed pants, but printed pants nonetheless. And they're right down to boots, and he's got little boot tip sort of lines on it. Pretty neat, actually. But then he's just got the rather generic long hair. I start to wonder if the vast majority of the Death Eaters just never cut their hair. Maybe they're all compensating for the fact that Voldemort has no hair. Alright, so I'll just set that one off to the side for now. I'm looking forward to things. Poodle Pirate had sent me a DM and said, you can go to my base and get redstone. So, rather than poking about, I mean, I definitely will owe her later on, but rather than poking about and wasting a whole ton of time doing redstone hunts, I took her offer and went and got some, I went and got some redstone, so now I'm in the process of getting chicken. So last night I was AFK at my chicken farm, and I've already made it through 1.5 chests of egg stacks, plus all the weirdos that were sitting in the farm when the lava first went off. But I'm happy, because I have over a stack of chicken, which is nice. And then did very promptly with the iron farm upgrade the chicken farm to have a hopper minecart underneath, because I'm pretty sure the first time the lava went off, I actually had an awful lot of loss in there. It's definitely not a lossless farm, but it's far faster and less lossy, I guess, if I put a hopper minecart underneath, because it pulls faster than a regular hopper. And I've also got the redstone tweaked so that it's actually working to, excuse me, it's actually working to double trigger everything. So I don't know why it takes two. Like this one, it's funny. When I first built this farm a few seasons ago, the chicken farm, and it's not one that really needs a whole lot of visual. It's funny. Oh, sorry. I'm shoving a piece under my keyboard, and every time I try to get it, I just shove it further. I'm looking for a green wedge. It's in the pile! Well, yes. There it is. But the first time I built this chicken farm that I was so excited about, we used to be able to just put the lava sitting up above the where the chickens hatch and then grow up, and they grow up into the lava and thereby suffocate. And the excuse me, the chickens now in later versions, the meat will float upwards, and so you'll lose a lot of the products, the meats and the feathers. So that's not any good. However, now that you switch it to, I've got a dispenser that spits out lava and then picks it back up again. So that helps a lot. But even further, the speed of the collection is fairly key. I did not complete one of the steps before I moved on. Silly me. This must be a standard Delenn Lego day. Alright. Now I can put on this next blue one. So yeah, I've got myself into chicken, which is great. I won't have a whole ton for this evening, but we'll see what I can do, because I've got a lot of paperwork to print this afternoon. So maybe if the kids are cooperative, as in like in a good mood about it, then I can just get the AFK going and check in on it periodically. But yeah. This evening, for those of you that are interested, I will be sharing my point of view of the Deadcrest73 Java server. Oh, that's a mouthful. I'll be sharing my point of view of some of the chaos as we take out the dragon a few times. It's going to be kind of fun. Well, not kind of. It will be fun. It always is. One of my favorite events of the year, actually. I think I've done it twice as a group now. I was too chicken one year, so I was, thought I would actually die way too much and was embarrassed by it, so I skipped it. And then one year I just couldn't make it. The dates just didn't work out. And this year I can only make one of the two sessions, but thankfully it's the first one, so that's good. And I have yet to actually do the wither fight with the group. I've never done a wither fight on my own either, but with the group would be a lot of fun. It's just, Delenn's nerves get the better of her very, very quickly. So the one time that it actually worked out on the schedule, I chickened out. And the other time that I was available, like I was in town, I should say, something happened. There was some reason I actually couldn't be there. It's too bad, but that means there's something new for down the road. One of the things I will try to remember as soon as we start doing that part of it is to adjust my muffling filters so that we hear all the chaos for this weekend. Because I think I might actually have some Endermen muted at the moment just because they're under my base and highly annoying. Oops. That said, there I go, jumping the gun again. That said, I have them muted because they're annoying rats. Okay, I did something wrong again because I realized I skipped a piece. And pieces are not quite lining up where I expect them to. but having skipped a piece by mistake. I didn't leave myself a big enough hole to put it in. So now I'm trying to figure out where did I mess up. So we've got 4 right in here. This whole section is wrong. This one. As I said, it's a normal day when Dylan messes up like that. Silly me. This. That one out. There. That's going to be better. As I throw the brick separator. It's better. You know, Lego for me is a lot like Minecraft. Build it 3 times, 4 times, whatever it takes to actually get it right. It's not even, this is part of why I don't do my own Lego builds from scratch, is just that I'd mess them up. But I'm looking forward to seeing how various bases and stuff turn out this season. There's always a friendly ribbing and rivalry a little bit between the Bedrock and Java servers. Some of the community we have in the Minecraft side is a crossover, which is great in that they do both, or they have been on one side and then the other. And I applaud those who actually had the time for both in one season. Hurrah to them. I don't have the mental cycles for both, just because I do so much build up and tear down, build up and tear down repeatedly. Or I bite off more than I can chew, and that's not smart either. So, yeah, I definitely applaud those. The stylings, I mean, the game needs to be a little bit more parody for me to feel really comfortable going back and forth. But they stopped giving me those stupid green wedges. I often have a hard time finding them. Right in. Oh. And yet. That would explain a lot. Okay. No, it doesn't. It feels like it should rise up higher than that piece actually does. Oh, I see. It's the one on the side. Okay. Okay, where are we here? I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little wired today. I definitely will not be wearing the same shirt when you see me this evening, because this is going to drive me crazy. And maybe not the itch, but the scent of the soap that we were using to soak it. That's my fault, because I spilled coffee on it, and then I put it by my sink and asked Fantastic Shock Fox for a little bit of help in terms of, because we have water restrictions, how did he figure we were going to do it, or do I just jump in like normal, as in the same way I would other times? But I find sometimes soaking laundry, water-wise, I actually believe it's kind of wasteful, but necessary. And so normally I just swallow it, but I was trying to be a good girl this time. And so I put it off, and then promptly forgot about it, because quite literally out of sight, out of mind.
Hello?
Good morning, Mel. That's totally okay. You do what you need to do or want to do. You can lurk, multi-park, whatever works for you. That's fine. So anyway, I didn't get it washed, and then I can't remember exactly the wording, which is part of the problem, but Fantastic Short Fox and we had a conversation about it and sort of said, okay, well, you know, if you're having trouble, let me know and I'll get to it. At least that's how I thought I heard it. Apparently he heard it differently. Anyways, so eventually I just said, okay, I'm going to keep forgetting about this because I'm not actually visually looking at it, like things that don't quite literally sit in front of my face. It's an ADHD trait, unfortunately. What I mean by that is that for some people say out of sight, out of mind. They're like, okay, well, you know, you should be able to remember because you go up to that room multiple times a day. Yeah, I remember when I'm in the room, in the middle of doing something else, or on the way to something very time sensitive. And so I can't take the time to do it right then. Stickers. Where did I put? They're there. So I go, okay, well, I'll do it the next time I've got a moment, and go to finish whatever I was doing, intending to come back. Completely forget. Completely. It's not even necessarily having oh, well, so-and-so distracted me. It's quite literally, I get out of the room, I go off to do whatever it was I was finishing up, And then in the middle of that, I just forget about the shirt. So I don't remember till, once again, rinse, no bad puns intended, rinse and repeat. So anyways, I put it on his sink and he kindly soaked it for me, which is fantastic. And it was drying over the edge of the tub. And so then this morning I was like, oh, hey, I'll just grab it and go with that. Not realizing that it was definitely stain removed, but probably should have gone straight in the regular laundry. And yeah, the regular laundry at the moment is not necessarily a forget piece. It's I keep guilt tripping myself over doing my laundry. Because normally, when I don't have camp events coming up, I actually have a wider selection of clothing pieces, so I can actually go a kind of unreasonably long time without doing laundry. And so I was thinking, okay, well, we'll just push it off. We're fine, we'll push it off. But now that I've got camp coming up, I have to. And so I was thinking, okay, well, let's make sure it's a full load, that you're not wasting. And, oh yeah, it's a full load. It's a full load and then some. Actually, at the point where I'm, out of shirts that are appropriate for streaming. That's the other big thing, is that since I started streaming, I now am self-conscious about what I wear. Not necessarily the Potter shirts, but as in, being blunt, the roles have roles have roles. Which basically means that, there's some shirts that I will wear comfort-wise, that I do not want to be seen outside the house in for self-conscious reasons. And, yeah. We have tons of those shirts left, but not appropriate for streaming. So if I'm this evening, by the way, that does bring up a point. This evening, not for laundry, but just because of the amount of screen real estate that's probably reasonable, I will not be using my face cam. It just makes it a little bit easier. And it doesn't, I guess one could argue that it levels the playing field a bit, but that's actually just me making that up. Yeah, I won't be using the face cam just so that we can have less draw on the machine, so that I potentially have slightly less lag at my end. And, that. 1, 2. Looking for more 2-stud pieces, and where did I put them? Yes, the 3s supposed to go somewhere? Okay, I have to pause and sort pieces because I am not seeing things, so I have to figure out where I put them. Plates off to the side. So anyway, that's a heads up piece. Not a computer challenge part, just choice. But that also means then that between now and then I can go grab a shirt that doesn't smell of laundry soap. I like the smell, but just not this much. Hopefully between now and then I can actually start the load for the weekend. Then I'll have some of my stuff back. The other thing about camping with Scouts is they are very, strenuously insistent that you do not bring any cotton type fabrics, even in the summer. They definitely do not want cotton type fabrics because of, well, 1, odor, and 2, sweat, and then you cool down and people get cold, and yeah, it's just not fun. So I've been through a lot of that material already, because those are the ones that you can usually get away with wearing, your pants or something, you haven't spilled on them, so wearing them a few times. Okay, so that's sorted enough there. Let's get into these little piles. As I find them, I'll put these on. So anyway, that's the story, I guess, of the laundry saga. And I hate doing laundry. I'm not quite as bad as some of the ADHD people you see on the web talking about it, who end up washing the same load 3 times because they forgot it was in there and now it's all musty. Thankfully, I'm not that bad. I have done it twice, but that's usually because you go and wash the laundry after a camp specifically, and you go to I always sniff test the laundry. I know it sounds weird, but I always do. Well, after camp anyways. And if it comes out smelling either like laundry soap, which is not good because I have odor-free laundry soap, or, well, not the stuff in this shirt, but the stuff that we use in the machine. So I have either it smells like laundry soap or it still smells of campfire smoke, which is a no-go for me, so I'll have to wash it again. So yeah, you can get through a lot of stuff, but not so effective. 1, 2. All right. Did that in backwards order, but we'll get there. Let's see. Yeah. So that's where it's at. On Fridays, actually let me correct that. I will, so next week I will not be here, for Friday. Just so you guys are aware, I am well aware my stream is in the drink. It seems to be all over the place terrible today. Not entirely sure why, so I'm hoping it's just the mess of workmen. Anyhow, but I will not be here at Thursday or Friday next week, or any of the following week, because I'll be out of town at the Jamboree. At this point, I'm hoping, cross my fingers, that I'll be able to make the odd comment on Discord while I'm away, just for my own sanity. But we'll see how that works, because part of it's connectivity, part of it's just how crazy the kids are, and part of it's how tired I'm going to be at the end of the day. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it, I think. Nervous about, being an adult, because that means I'm kind of in charge of not doing things, but making sure everybody gets to the right place at the right time with the right gear and so on and so forth. I have 2 others to help me, although we've talked about this before a little bit. One of them is an overgrown kid, and one of them is a very opinionated, forceful guy who kind of goes, you forgot the whatever it is, you can make do without it. Which ends up in things like, lots of Luco first aid tape for blisters and so on, because the kid didn't remember to put on the correct shoes before we left, kind of deal. So, pros and cons, I guess. Pros and cons. Oh. Isn't that those dumb, twisty ones I hated from the other side? So we need to put the cross piece on the bottom. I'm used to things snapping in solidly, right? They all have a stud. It's all good. This does not. The picture is asking us to put it on this back side here, where we've only got, this is flat. I don't know why they didn't put one with 2 studs on it, because there's plenty of them in the bag. And then this can connect on by one corner. And then it's going to get locked in. I don't get why they designed it that way. Because it's not like the studs don't fit. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not a Lego designer. For good reason. Geek Out has changed. Geek Out made for Delenn. Miscellaneous 3 named Muppets. Are you kidding me? Fantastic Show Fox says that one's made for me. Yeah, it's the second time in this build they've done that. It makes no sense, because you guys saw that I was hunting for the 2-stud version, right? Like the tan twist on these guys. And they have them in the set. We use them in this bag. I don't know. Why they don't just put more in? They didn't. They didn't. Alright, so we've got 3 named Muppets on the Geek Out. Geek Out would be, let's see. Swedish Chef kind of has a name. That's what they call him, but it's not really his name. And then we've got Rolf the Dog, for sure. He's one of my favorites. I think some of the good ones, like that I probably wouldn't have said before. And we've got Janice, the guitar player, and Clyde, also a guitar player. Dr. Teeth, of course, Kermit, Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Scooter, Gonzo, Rizzo, that's the rat, which is much later. I'm trying to think of some of the originals. Statler and Waldorf are the guys up in the box. Wow, let's see, what else? I'm trying to remember, there's plenty more. Shoot. There's a few that I can picture, but I can't remember the name of. But, okay, so that's the earlier ones. And then we've also got, Stu, and I think that's the monkey from the Muppets Tonight. And that's where they introduced, oh shoot, I had it on my tongue and now I can't remember. Pepe the King Prawn, which from Muppets Tonight as well. Yeah, so there's, oh, in the original, actually, we missed Sweetums. Although Sweetums shouldn't really qualify as a Muppet, per se, because Sweetums was, somebody in a suit. Like, as in, the head is Muppetized, but the rest of it, isn't. Oh, Animal. Who could forget Animal? For sure. And then we had Robin, which was Kermit the Frog's nephew, although most people would recognize Robin in the Muppet Christmas Carol as Tiny Tim. So, yeah. I guess I know the Muppets, just a bit. Now I'm starting to wonder if there's any super classic ones I missed. Anyway, let's roll that geek out. Movies from the 2000s. One film about firefighters. Jeez, I'm horrible at knowing movie titles and stuff, but maybe if we don't limit the year, then we can include things like Backdraft. But I'm not sure what else. We don't have our ex-firefighters in chat today. They're all about those types of questions. It says 2 movies. Oh no, 1 film. Okay. 1 film. I'll roll that then. 2 scenes in which a character speaks on a... What? Oh, okay. 2 scenes in which a character speaks on a telephone. Like, what? Why would that be a question? Why? I guess telephones are so old-fashioned now, supposedly. Speaks on a telephone. Disney. Oh, Disney. Okay, there's the key. The Disney character speaking on a telephone. That's one I'm not super familiar with. Probably, it doesn't say if it has to be live action or animated, so I'm going to go with, I think 101 Dalmatians? I'm fairly certain the main characters get a phone call from Cruella de Vil saying that she wants to buy the puppies, and then they refuse, and she comes by and tries to get them anyway, before the theft of the puppies. If we're talking live action... Oh, Mary Poppins, because we've got Mr. Banks, 2 different telephone calls, but I mean, want to do different movies. But he's talking on the telephone trying to report the missing children. Because Jane and Michael hadn't come home. They were chasing their kite. And then later on he gets a telephone call from his superiors at the bank that he has to go in and they want to fire him, and he doesn't care. He goes, but, you know, he doesn't care by that point in the movie because he's been, had the Poppins treatment. Alright. If we could think of any more, that would be ideal. I'd love to know if there's any American ones like that, actually. If there's any ones where they talk about things like ringing the police and such. Well, not ringing. I mean, that's a UK thing, but... And oddly enough, that phrase doesn't even make me bat an eyelash when I hear it. I used to hear it so often when I worked in tech support. that I actually started using it. So we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I don't mean to be rude, but I will pick up turns of phrase from people I have been listening to a lot. Or, yeah. So, for example, in the workspace, I used to have expat clients who had, they'd have their problems with their email or whatever, need to get walked through what's going on. And so, being a fan of Brit TV, I just would have picked up little phrases. And so talking to this person, and I don't pick up their accent as much. I mean, I can try and fake it, but I'm terrible. So I don't really pick up the accents as much. But when we were done the call and I had to call them back for some reason or other, I would tell them I would bring them back. And some of them used to be so tickled by that, and I don't know why. Just, to me, it was like, oh, well, it's not because they were UK, or former UK people that I use that phrase. It just felt natural. And some of them were really amused. One of my former co-workers at that particular job was thick a little bit in the opposite direction, and one of the clients had asked them to call back another day, so they were busy or whatever. Oh no, when you're done, whatever it is, can you call me? Except they didn't say it that way. Of course, they asked the staffer to ring them. And this person had never heard the phrase before and had no idea what on earth was going on. And I just had such a chuckle, because to me it seems so dead obvious that I couldn't understand how somebody couldn't get it. And apparently this young person had not heard that phrase before. You would think by the time you're in college you would have heard it at least once in popular media, but they had not, so okay. So what it's telling us to do in this step is this little sandwich thing that we just did. It has this clip section on it, and it wants me to clip this wing onto the main building. So we've got it right in here. So we're just flipping these two pieces together. And we're headed down to the final pieces. I'm just going to slide this back. Okay. I was debating whether or not I'd move the instructions, but I think we'll just go with it. What a complicated step. 266 gets my award. That's all you do. Just grab a piece. Okay. Anyway, I probably should do that. Not really a word of the week, but word of the session for the dumbest step. I understand sometimes why they have to do it, but I don't understand why you couldn't put the step that takes the plate and then put these two pieces on it as your step without having to tell you the plate as a separate piece. Like a separate step. I don't know. Anyway. There was a question on my Discord earlier this week about, do you talk to yourself? Do you think I do enough talking to myself around here? Honestly, I would say sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And it's not just Twitch related. It started out that way. Sadly, it's not anymore. But there's a lot of different reasons for that. And there's a few more talking to myself out loud things that I'm a little more okay with than I used to be. That said, though, the question did not specify, do you talk to yourself out loud, or was it in your head? Because I think if it specified that both were acceptable in terms of the question, then I think far more people who were reading it would probably say yes, they do. Not that they would necessarily respond to the question on my Discord, but the point is, they would probably consider, yeah, I guess they do. Not everybody hears a little, conscience voice or internal whatever voice in your head. Most people, I can't say generalized do or don't, but a bunch of people have it, and it's like, well, that's just, it happens. But if you actually hear, quote unquote, hear a little voice or of any sort, some people instantly jump to the idea of, what? You hear your voices? You must be crazy. Well, we know we are, but that's not the type of voice people hear. I mean, a lot of them, it's a conscience thing, or sometimes people will hear a little voice, read to them. I don't know quite why that is. I don't. But I'm kind of a visual person when it comes to reading. I visualize stuff. But in any case, the question was asking that, and I figured if we include those bits... Oh, oops, jumped the gun. Only one. But if we include those bits as well, then I suspect more people would say yes. Just counting up my pieces. We've got this stage, box on, and the thing with the pin, and the cross beam. Okay, so that looks right. Then the next one says 2 pieces. So here, this corner, and this corner up top. And then I think that's right, because it doesn't have one on the opposite stud. That's what confused me. All right. I would say sometimes talking to yourself out loud without reason, as in like, oh, I see. Okay, this bit, I thought it was on top. It's not. They didn't show you the finished spot. They're showing you that it goes down in the back, where I was wondering about. Makes sense. Talking to yourself without reason. And I say without reason because technically one could argue talking to yourself on Twitch or YouTube or any other content creation type reason is enough to be reason. But if you're wandering around the neighborhood talking to yourself without reason, then people think you're nuts. And we do have a couple of those in my neighborhood. I think they're extended family of other residents. And jokingly, when people first met my husband, they actually thought that, or they might have thought he was a little bit odd in that direction. But it's just because he used to be quite into a lot of taking walking meetings for work. He still likes walking meetings. But the neighborhood wasn't used to that. And so what I mean by him taking walking... yeah, this isn't right. Taking walking meetings for work is that he will go on his Bluetooth headset and take a phone call. And I don't think the neighborhood was used to that because it was before a lot of people from more, I don't know, Middle Eastern-esque or... not Middle Eastern, I don't know how to say this without sounding rude, and it's not meant to be, but the, Muslim, Hindu, Pakistani communities, I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of them that love to walk around with their earbuds in, and their headset, or in their handset in their hand, and then have calls. Some people don't even bother with the earbuds part, they just walk around with their phone in their hand and have speakerphone calls in the neighborhood, and I don't get that. But anyway, so when my husband was first starting to walk around the neighborhood and stuff, taking his walking meetings on a Bluetooth headset, people may have thought he was a little odd if they didn't recognize they had a Bluetooth headset in, because he likes to have a fairly small Bluetooth headset. I think we've been through like some bone connection ones and stuff like that, and so he would not have been, he would have looked like he was talking to himself. So they're making the roof section. Pin it on there. Tip. Pin and tip. So it looks like it sits up against the white piece in the center. There's some support. It looks like rinse and repeat the other side. So yeah, I mean, if you've got Bluetooth headsets or something, that makes sense. And there's more people that will have calls with the people on headset than had been in the past. Like, I think, as much as I don't like the fact that the world, or not say the world, a large part of our world shut down for COVID period, and people were working from home and far less in-person meetings, I think it went a long way in business senses to normalize to more normalize the idea of a remote call. Don't know about walking around while you do it. That to me is still pretty weird. But the idea of spacing yourself away from others, I also think it played largely into what seems to be a much greater expectation of quiet during calls. What I mean by that is even if you're taking a Bluetooth headset or something, that there's kind of an expectation now that even remote calls, you're not going to hear other people in the room unless you know it's a what do you call it, boardroom speakerphone or something like that. But individual things, they're more used to not, or people expect not having sound in the background, which unfortunately, depending on where you work from, that might not always be the case. So for example, in my husband's office, when he actually has to go into the office to have meetings and stuff and have calls, that unfortunately he's he's got some fairly loud talkers in the office, and that just means that occasionally he's concerned that other people on the phone can hear them, and that's not always appropriate depending on the content being discussed. So yeah, it's a big mix. Fix one doesn't the other. That's the other funny thing too, though, is, I mean, if people don't realize that one is using a headset, even in an office, it can look like you're talking to a computer screen. Like, I would look totally nuts if I was doing this, and people came by at an office and saw me just talking like this. They'd wonder why I'm doing it. And honestly, I will say this sort of nonstop, hey, you take a breath kind of speed is not something that I'm used to. I'm becoming used to it, but it's not something I was originally used to. Okay, so now we have a bit with a sticker. Let's get this together. Got a little curve. It's got one more, I think it's a Hogwarts crest of some sort. I don't know. Oh, it's just a decorative bit. Okay. Extra piece. That's fine. Curve. Okay, so we'll show you the... I pressed a mark into my finger and I'm not quite sure how. So I'll get this one placed and then I'll show it up close on the camera. Which way's up? There really isn't an up on the sticker, it's just the way it's trimmed is a little funky, so I want to try and see if I can make use of that curve to hide the trim. There we go, it's close enough. Okay, so this piece, yeah, went on fairly straight. It's just decorative. And I just put it on crooked because I didn't realize there was an up. I've just spotted, right in the dead center, now pointing to the left, is a Hogwarts crest, so I should have done it this way. But as you can see, the shape of the piece does not allow for that easily, so... there it is. I'm gonna grab my scalpel from my old dissecting kit. Maybe. Oh, I've never used the knife. Okay. Well, that's less than optimal. How about this pokey thing? It's not gonna work. Paper crafting stuff it is. Don't have my husband's X-Acto on me at the moment. Excuse me just one second, be right back. Sorry about that. That might have been a BRB moment, but I thought I knew where the blade was. So, now, local brick shop claims that you shouldn't have to do this. Be able to just simply put the sticker sheet back under. However, silly me, put it somewhere after I peeled the thing off. And, oh, there it is. I couldn't find it. Welcome back. Thanks. So let's see if we can do this without... So supposedly, you can actually use this thicker peel paper that you originally started with under the edge of the sticker. I think he's smoking it. But maybe I'll have to get him to show me over and over and over again. Yeah, that's not picking up. It's not even catching. Come on, straight, maybe? Oh, okay. Let's first off stabilize this. Hold it better. And I'm probably going to damage the corner, so I'm just going to pick a corner to damage. This one. Basically, I'm just cutting the glue on the sticker. Ah, got it. Okay. Still a mark, but that's okay. All right. So let's put it on and I'll show you guys again what it should have looked like. Maybe. It's better. Not centered as much, but I don't really care. Okay, so. Piece away. So now we've got shield straight. Which then goes underneath the little tower. And then onto the front of this piece, which in turn, oh, come on, camera, back here. Maybe? Maybe not. Doesn't like me. There, drag it. Oh. Well, we're on the very last step, so I'm not going to fuss with it too much. There we go. So then, on the top, and let's just hide this. So on the top of all this works is where this piece goes, just right up on top. Now, some have commented I have a lot of build space. I do not, but we're going to pretend. Let's see if I can do this without a cam. Change that to not be quite so zoomed. Yeah, well, whatever. Apply. All right, so there's the whole build. Try and tip it back without breaking it. It goes like this. So we've got the build made. There we are. And let's rotate it around so you guys can see the other side. And it's got some like flex to it. You know, you can see that's the hingy parts. And somebody's made me jump. That's okay. We've got sections up top where we can pop in and out the block. Have either a repaired section or a destroyed looking section. And we have wings that we can put characters on. We just hide the text chat for a second. Where's the text? Oh, hide those for a sec. So, all the characters all together. Let's have a battle off the top. We're going to have, this is Bellatrix Lestrange, and she's trying to have a fight with Molly Weasley. Plug that one down there, and see Molly, back her up a little bit. Come on. These dresses can be annoying. Okay. And then Molly Weasley kicking her butt off this side. Huzzah. And then, let's see what else we've got. Got Harry and Voldemort will be down in front. I think we'll do this on the inside. I'm going to pop the clock tower piece and make it destroyed on the inside. As I take the tower apart. Come on. We have choice. Maybe? Did I just... Oh. Can't line up the pins. That's what the problem is. 1, 2. Here we go. Pop. This one keeps popping off. That's fine. These things are sometimes a little too modular. Okay, so we've got Molly and Bellatrix facing off at one end. We're gonna have Harry and Voldemort having a good fight in the middle. Got this dude is being a pain in the butt, so we'll give him. He's a little scared. Don't know why, but he'll just hang out on the tower on this side. And then we've got Neville Longbottom. He's got he's got the Gryffindor sword. He's going to take out Nagini the snake. Snakes don't bug me, and this one's actually well done, so it's going in set. And we're just going to actually maybe we'll hide this one. Not to hide him, but move him. Dude, you can just go like hang out on the bottom. You're not really that important. We'll put Neville up here. You can just like beat up the snake, which just sits. It doesn't have a stud to sit on. So for those that are unaware, the story at the end, basically the snake was Voldemort's little sidekick, and Neville got the wonderful joy of chopping the snake's head off. Wonderful. And I was going to give, what's his name, a wand, but unfortunately, like these two, I like to keep them stuck together when I store them, and my box of wands is across the room, but generally, that's what you got. So we had fun with this one. Now, I'm not quite done for the day. Tied with this one is, where did I put it? Was the Owlery. So we're going to get a jump on that one and get a start. So we'll switch it over. I'll just change up the titles. This is where you go refresh your drink. I'm not going to disappear for long, but I need to get the new set of instructions. I don't think I have a picture handy. At least we'll get the name up there. So we'll see you in just a moment. Alright, for the time being we won't have a logo in the corner up here, just because I didn't get a picture that wanted to cooperate, but that's okay. We've got the instructions in the corner there, and if anybody wants I can always show them the box, so when they say, what are you building? Then yeah, let's go there. I'm just going to double check and see, oh nope, change, excuse my writing here, dude, Hogwarts, you can see where my keyboard is now, Castle Owlery. There we go. Alright. I didn't like that word. I don't know why I didn't like that. Did I spell it wrong? Nope, that's how it's spelled. Apparently that's not in a dictionary. That's probably why it doesn't like it. Yes. So, the Champion Hill, kind of rigged. It was me and Fox. I mean, he's had it a lot. So, yeah. We're there. So this is the second one that people had voted for, or that tied with it. I think after that, we've got a couple small ones, but like brickhead sets and so forth. But then we've got the Ministry of Magic, which was really nobody's cup of tea. So I think I might just have to do that myself when I get back from BC, British Columbia. But in the meantime, this one is only 364 pieces, whereas the last one we just finished was 730, so this should take quite literally half the time. We're just going to get a start on it today because we don't need to be here all day. Now, normally on Fridays I go 3 hours. We'll just see how the vibe is in about 40 minutes and see if it's worth doing that extra hour. I don't think so. I mean, I prattle on about all kinds of stuff. On the other hand, the difference being, some people say 2 streams a day is an awful lot, and it is. Especially if you're hearing me prattle on. The difference being that tonight is less of me chitter-chattering about nothing. Guess we've got, there's the book. I mean, I could just throw that in the corner. You know, it's too big, but there. This one appears to be, how many steps? 103, I guess. 103 steps. And we have another one of the mystery tiles, which I keep forgetting I should probably photocopy this page because I don't like writing in my books. And also if I've got multiple sets, I'm not going to go into every one of the books and just check off, you know, in each one of my books. That's just kind of dumb. But I understand why they do it. And we're supposed to be able to mix and match and trade. I'm just not that organized. Alright, which reminds me, I'll figure out who the last one was. Okay, anyway. Yeah, put that over there for now. This one appears to have 4 bags. We've got there, and we'll just launch right into the first one. Alright, so bag 1. Huh? So we got the obligatory Harry, though he's wearing something very different this time. I'm not quite sure what position, what movie they're working with. I'm going to bet, since there's like a Cho Chang going on in here, that it's probably, I'm going to say book 4, which would normally be Goblet of Fire, or what is it that DC called it? I'm trying to remember. Cup of Sparkles or something? I don't know. Anyway, so it's got Harry Potter. He's got a double-sided head and some double printing. It's a fairly standard Potter head, smiley on one side and grumpy, or not grumpy, yeah, grumpy on the other. So I'm not worried about the look. Where are his pants? Come on. Yeah. Okay. I'll show you once. I hate them. I'll put it away. Yeah. This is actually giving me the hairs on the back of my neck are standing on end. Even though I know it's plastic, I know it's a toy, I'm just that much of a chicken. My kids know that if they ever stole my Lego spiders and then put them around and freaked me out with them, they would be in really big trouble. But, yeah. That actually makes my hand tickle in a weird way, so I'm just gonna get rid of it right now. They don't go in the trash or the recycling, although it has passed my or crossed my mind. Why can't I find his legs? Well, okay, they're there. So now we've got Harry Potter. There's his face. And he's got some good printing on his jacket. You probably can't quite see it. Oh, there's some reflection for you. A little bit of pockets on the front of the outer jacket. And he's got his kangaroo hoodie pocket and stuff on the inside. And love the hood. There's a seam down the back, a couple of wrinkles, and then a hood with a seam in it. It's nice. I like that. They gave the articulate but shorter legs. I get why they do that, so they don't have to make a shorter torso either, but it just looks kind of, I don't know, janky and stubby. It is what you get, right? They're trying to imply that he's younger, but I mean, that's the fourth movie, and they've given him legs for a height that doesn't necessarily make sense, because he was doing Quidditch in one of the earlier flicks. This is the one where I snapped his hand, but yeah. You can see it's the same face they've been using since 2011, which is kind of sad. He's the same height as the Quidditch guy, which I think it's either movie 1 or 2 reference in this one. Yeah. There's your Potter for the day. Let's see. I guess I can put, for now, let's put the text blah blah back on. Not just for the games, but also, did I turn anything else off? No. Oh. What did I do with that? ERB. Oh, whoops. Wrong one. I can put this one back on. That's what I'm looking for. Alright. So the chitter chatter at the top here, the long question says, who would be the worst person to be stuck in an elevator with? How about the best person to be stuck in an elevator with? So they can be either real life people or fictional people. And, I mean, I think the best person to be stuck in an elevator with, in my experience, would be Fantastic Sherlock Fox. And while that may sound cute, I mean, if he wasn't the best person to be stuck in an elevator with, I probably wouldn't have married him. Not that I've ever been stuck in an elevator with Fox, but that, part of how we get along, a Potter a day keeps the Dark Lord away. Ooh. Ooh. There's one for you. Ah. Anyway. But I'd say Fox is definitely the best one to be stuck in an elevator with, because part of how we get along and how we sort of started our relationship actually relates to, relates to the fact that we were friends first and spent hours and hours and hours talking, which just it grew into being something else. And that's wonderful. Because back then, he admits it, back then he used to dress in a way that people said was a little bit stuffed shirt and Johnny Cash. It was like he was always ready for a business meeting, even at the time he was still in college. But now, he's definitely much more chilled out than that. And that's not because of me, I don't think. I think it just had to do with looking towards having a wardrobe that helps you disengage from your workday when the day is over. But in any case, so first impressions were like he was off to some sort of business meeting. But very quickly we just started talking, and that worked out very, very well in the long run. As you can clearly see, because I'm here, he's awesome, and they're two amazing kids. So yeah. Yeah. I'd love to be stuck in an elevator with Fox. Worst person to be stuck in an elevator with depends on the mood. And it's not just that, like the mood of the person that I'm stuck in the elevator with, or how long I'd be stuck in the elevator with them, although that would probably affect things too. But sometimes I would say, extended family would be awful to be stuck in an elevator with. Like, even my parents. I would not want to be stuck in an elevator when my dad's in the mood to go on at length like I do on stream. I have actually jokingly suggested once in a while that if somebody else were to do the tech for him, that he should consider streaming and just chattering on about whatever's on his mind. And he swears up and down nobody would want to listen to that. He's probably right. But I don't think that would necessarily stop him once he got on a roll. I get it from somewhere. However, let's see, a famous person. If I was thinking famous person to be good to be stuck. Ooh, I did that wrong this way. Go this way. A famous person to be good to be stuck in an elevator with might be, I mean, really, anybody that I wanted to have a long conversation with. Now, I mean, stuck in an elevator is a bad place to have that kind of, get to know you as a human being type of conversation that I look forward to, or I would like to, in a magic world. However, if it was a famous person like a movie actor or somebody who has a high pressure job, the thing about being stuck in an elevator with them is that whether they like it or not, whether or not there'll be repercussions later is kind of irrelevant. For that period of time, nobody is going to have a whole lot of calls on them to say, hey, can you do this or do that? Some elevators, actually quite a lot of elevators, oddly enough, have difficulty with cell phone reception. Not all, but some of them do. And so I think it would be a bit logical to be able to claim, nope, I couldn't deal with your phone call because I was stuck in the elevator and the reception wasn't great. They have given us a rat. I do not know if it's Scabbers. I'm assuming it may be intended to be, but I somewhere around here have at least one more Scabbers rat, and I don't think he looks like this, so it may not be. Just could be some generic rat that lives around the owls. Though frankly, a rat or a mouse living around the owl roost is a stupid idea for the rat, because you're going to end up eating breakfast really quickly. They never talk about people going to go feed the school owls. I suspect somebody does. Either that, or you're at certain hours of the day, you wouldn't get any post delivered no matter what you wanted, just because the owls would all be out looking for dinner. 1, 2, owls. Looks like we're gonna have some rotating. I love that. Where are we? So, as far as who the famous person would be, I would probably love to use that as an isolated chance to talk to stars who normally wouldn't give me the time of day. I know that sounds really rude, but frankly, a lot of them, it's the kind of people that, let's say, let's hypothetically say that, like our fine friend Maribel Jade, I had wanted to go meet, say, Jonathan Rhys Davies. I don't look like they'd really want to get stuck in an elevator with him, but the interviews I've seen, he's a very, very interesting individual. I would love to hear more from, just as a person. And not in a role or anything, just as an average Joe, I guess. And so I think an elevator might be an interesting time, just to converse about whatever. However, understanding, being in an elevator, I suspect he might also be potentially one of the worst famous people I could say to be stuck in an elevator with, because I suspect his crying all around style could be fairly forceful. So that might not win so many friends and influence people, sort of thing. Or calling people to get him out, That's the other problem, is some of the rich people, I don't think necessarily he's one, but some of the rich people would have it go to their head a little bit that they are too important and too famous and too whatever to be allowed to be stuck in an elevator for very long and find out who's doing something about this. Call my agent, call my whatever, do this or that. And that would not be a fun thing to be stuck in an elevator with anybody. Excuse me. I mean, there's, you wouldn't want to be stuck in an elevator with dangerous people. Whether they be dangerous in the physical sense, or dangerous in, I guess that's probably the best, physical sense. Like, the actual villains you see in the news. Let's put it that way, I guess. I wouldn't want to be stuck in an elevator with opinionated political personalities, no matter what grouping or side. Partly because I don't trust myself not to try to tell them off. And partly because I don't really want to hear long diatribes on politics. Thanks. people that think the world is interesting, they might be rough in an elevator. And what I mean by that is some sciencey people can get really, even I can at times actually, geeky and nerd out about little tiny things. Did you know that? You know, those types of elements. And I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head that wouldn't bore the snot out of people for me to use it as an example. But I'm coming up a little bit short. So, yeah. Although, slight derail, and not for long. If you're ever interested in a short, sciencey type of YouTube channel, one of the more interesting explanations is a channel by a guy named Stephen Mould, M-O-U-L-D. He's got a UK accent, so I'm not going to try and place where it's from. Hey there, Swanky. You've never ever nerded out. Well, you probably wouldn't getting stuck in an elevator. Or in a lineup. But those kinds of people that would tell you about the science of water and why you shouldn't, the opinionated ones too, why you shouldn't boil water in a microwave, because it might explode. Yes, if. You know, it's one of those kinds of things. Good to see you, Swanky. Always welcome. Always welcome. Aside from the odd frustration moment, you can definitely guarantee that no matter what's going on in Swanky's house, Dylan's channel's probably family friendly. Probably. So it's, my daughter was saying, I can't wait till I'm old enough to watch you. And because she's not Discord age, we'll put it that way. And I said, well, you can watch, you just can't comment. You know? I mean, it would be really, really odd if my bot started commenting and sounding like a preteen. That would just not be high on my list. Did I get that right? I think I got it this time? Alright. So, but I'm going on at length about who would be good and who would be bad to get stuck in an elevator with. Thank you for catching that shout-out, Fox. I really appreciate it. So, being stuck in an elevator. Who else would I want to be? If I was looking for famous people I would want to be stuck in an elevator with, honestly, I think once again it would fall down to the ones that I'd like to have a regular conversation with. So, it sounds really weird, but so deceased people might be kind of fun. Only in that, not that they're dead when that happens, but the point is that they'd be people that nobody else could really... Usually they were retired by the time they passed. So being able to have an average Joe conversation with them would, after a few years of not being a hot star, would be kind of fun, I think. I'm trying to think of an example. Who just recently... I don't know if I'd want to have a conversation with Donald Sutherland. That would be a very tense situation, I think. Who else? Probably, I mean, I would probably find it, you know, be surprised to find how many people that are actually slightly claustrophobic that we didn't think were, but because they had to play a role where they weren't able to be. I mean, another example of that would be, not claustrophobic per se, but people that have talked about having to play roles they didn't particularly enjoy in some situations. A good example of that would be, what's his name? Sorry, I'm trying to think of this person's name all week, and it's escaping me because I know it. I want to say Baron Gruner, but that's not it. That's someone else. The Sheriff of Nottingham from Robin Hood, or Professor Snape, and it's going to drive me nuts as soon as I get it reminded. Alan Rickman. There we go. See? Anyway, I would find it kind of interesting to be conversationally chill in an elevator where nobody's really calling on your time and trying to critique you or tell you what to do next or anything else. I think that'd be kind of fun to be conversationally chill in an elevator with Alan Rickman. Or, better yet, Angela Lansbury. You know? There's another one. There's a few others of that nature. Okay, so this bottom piece spins, as does this middle piece. So I wonder what we're going to do with that. Generic people types to be stuck in an elevator with that would suck would be anybody who's really got to use the washroom. You know, I think that would be awful. Or somebody who may be currently suffering indigestion and you hear nothing but tummy growls all afternoon. Maybe they're hungry. Okay, Lego, you're doing it again. I suspect they want the bottom to spin and not the center, but it's another one of those ones that initially the step doesn't appear to make a whole lot of sense because this top bit spins and now they've pinned it to something it doesn't. So I'm assuming the bottom bit is supposed to spin without the top. Fantastic Show Fox was saying, oh no, Lego's going to have to release more sets because you're running out of things to build, which isn't exactly the case. I've got a few small ones, but and if there's things I need to build for myself because people didn't vote for them, which is fine, then see the leaf. Don't see the demi spyglass shape. Pretty sure I got an extra one. Oh, there it is. It hid next to the knife that we had earlier. Yeah, like so people types wouldn't want to do that. Anybody trying to like sell you something that wants you cornered so they can continue to sell you whatever it is. Someone who recently showered is top of your list for who to get stuck with. Yeah. Yeah, recently showered would be good. So someone who doesn't have horrible BO or recently brushed their teeth and hopefully mouthwashed. Poor Fox has had to deal with me when I came back from camp and we hadn't had the greatest last meal. It's not ideal. So someone who doesn't have halitosis might be a good plan. Me, long hair, just showered can be okay to deal with. Other times, my hair drips even after I've tried to dry it well. And so, actually, it's not so bad now. It's short, or shorter. But yeah, when it's still dripping, I have a tendency to like fling it, and that doesn't help anybody. Okay, so we've got a short little piece, and it wants a stud. But someone not wanting, or not somebody who wants to sell me something, that would be appreciated. I mean, can you imagine? Okay, let's go for a hypothetical here. We've heard stories from, say, Dadcraft or others who've talked about not getting stuck in elevators, but who talked about having to deal with warranty providers or insurance companies, home warranties and stuff. I mean, even auto insurance is a pain at times. And sometimes even dealing with your generic insurance when you need to change it because you've changed vehicles, they'll try to upsell you. Meaning as in give you, or ask you to pay for coverage that you really don't think you need. Our particular case of that would be every time we try to go in and put in and change vehicles, or we have a reason to change the insurance coverage because we need to tell them that we bought proper winter tires for our vehicle, which is, yeah, Swanky wouldn't have to worry about that one. But up here, having proper winter tires, saying that you've got dedicated ones, actually has a hit on your insurance in a good way. And so it's definitely worth letting your insurance provider know you've done that because it can bring your rates down. I find odd, but sure. So I guess it means you're less likely to be slipping and sliding and whatever. And so every time we call them, it seems like they want to add other things like glass coverage. Nope. Or some sort of break-in coverage or whatever that is not already covered. And it's like, guys, we've said no a million things. We will tell you what we want. And you just tell us how much that costs. And then we try and negotiate. That's all you're going to get. But, that's the nature of companies that they're supposed to try and upsell you. And besides, the more they can get you to pay for that you're probably never going to use, the better. So yeah, people trying to sell you stuff, I think would be awful. Somebody who is a bad person to be stuck in an elevator with would be somebody who is potentially visibly upset by having just been laid off or fired. That would suck. Because it's high on the awkward list. I mean, just basically, like, there's an awful lot of awkward situations, right? Someone who's an extreme claustrophobe would also be bad to be stuck in an elevator with. I don't know about worst. Like, the worst person. Some people have a gut reaction, you know. Worst person to be stuck in anywhere with would be, I don't know, comedy likes to make you think it's your mother-in-law or something. While I would not want to be stuck in an elevator with my mother-in-law, because if you think I go on at length, you haven't met her yet. But overall, it's not that bad. Could be worse, put it that way. I have a decent mother-in-law. Let's see what else we got. So I'm watching where the little Lego guy is on the bottom. We're over halfway through the left-hand side on a double-page spread of where the little guy runs. So I think that's good news. We're 15 minutes out, which means we probably probably won't finish today. But that's totally okay. Means I've got I've got some Lego to look forward to when I come back. Or if things go totally screwball and I can't do a regular stream. I don't know. We'll see which ones we do next week. I'm hoping for Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday's very much up in the air. And yeah, and that's as far as we're going to get, because I'm pull out on Thursday morning and I will not stream from the road. I may potentially be able to play a little bit, but we'll see. A lot of we'll sees going on. All right, so we've got this piece here and that one there. I do find it interesting how LEGO makes use of the various colors and or lack thereof colors, but as in sometimes in the middle of builds you'll see really bright colors for no reason that seems to be discernible. As in, why are we doing it that way? And if I can get this a little, a little further back, but not quite. I was hoping to get inside. And I do need to play with the lighting. That's a to-do I've got going on. Anyway, distraction. So I was saying, oh yeah. Back to elevators. It's probably a safer conversation content. Anyways, the Legos. Yeah, Legos got their weird colors. So you'll see inside, say, brickheads. Yes, there'll be a pink in the brain spot, and nobody's gonna know unless you rip the thing open. But it's just a nice touch that they've done that sort of thing. Go with this one. A couple of white curves, which we can do. And yes, I did deliberately skip this bit. It's just not going in there. All right. Okay, I see what I'm doing. I think one over there. Square on the side. And we've got a curve. Yeah, so that's the long and the short of it. I am excited. I think I didn't announce what activities I've got next week for the Scouts. So it wasn't necessarily, secret or anything. We just took forever to get it. I think our first slot on Monday. So we drive out Thursday. I'm staying overnight halfway, and then I'm driving the rest of the way on Friday, taking a ferry across from the mainland to Vancouver Island. So if you guys are map people, it's one of the largest islands on the west coast of Canada. The largest habitable islands, I guess, in Canada. And history of that's kind of funky. The area that became the United States eventually wanted to have control over it, and there was a huge, I shouldn't say war, but political mess over it ages ago. And there were actually many different lines drawn on how the island would be divided and how the territory would be divided, but then I can't remember exactly what the reasoning was, but there was the lines got redivided, and it turned out that the Americans lost, not in the losing sense per se, but that something was done by the oh, ha ha ha, I just spotted. That's cool. So we're building a tower, right? And I did not expect that they would put basically an Easter egg in the tower. I just spotted the owl. Ah, that's cool. I'll have to go back and screenshot that. It's neat. Anyway, back to... So all that to say that we're going out. Was it Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. That's Friday. Friday night, we're staying in a small town near the campground, and the campground is called Camp Bernard. I'm not bothered by that in a privacy sense because we're talking like 3,000 people going to be at the opening ceremony. So good luck trying to figure me out from that. And so we had to leave or be ready to park and get on the shuttles that go to the campground by 9 a.m. So hopefully I won't be too tired from driving. And this is Cho Chang, it looks like. So she's got a scarf, some pants, she's got a little blue skirt thing, which they want to put on. Okay, I've got her hair and her head. There is blue, gray. There it is. This is something LEGO started doing fairly recently, is they just have a little piece with a slot on it. And that allows them to put a bit of a overhang shirt or skirt or something on the top edge. It's like the fashion that came in where you wear the longer t-shirt. I think it's supposed to be a short skirt with leggings, but honestly, it's always too short. But maybe it's just the long t-shirt thing that was popular for a while. So yeah, we're staying out there, and then we're going to Camp Bernard on Saturday morning. I think officially the opening is on Sunday, but there's a lot of like camp chaos on the Saturday to set up and everything. She's got a pretty bland head, so it's smiley on one side, open-mouthed, and then a slightly different smile, closed mouth on the back. But she's got neat little printing on her jacket, so you can see the hood and the lines. And of course blue, because she's in Ravenclaw, so she's got the blue scarf. Yay! I should order a whole ton of those parts. Maybe I'll be able to find some in the used shop. Maybe. Her wand. Okay, and that goes to the side because I don't give them wands. And let's roll. We got 10 minutes on this one. We'll see how far we get. I don't have to do a whole lot of parts sorting. We should be okay. This one, and of course now, first thing, find little studs. Single studs. 1, 2. But we've got a small owl that goes on this one. Little itty bitty guy. I think is adorable. Actually, it goes on the table, so I might as well show that way. Absolutely adorable. He's much smaller than the other owls. So I think he's going to be a reference to I think he's a reference to Pigwidgeon, which would be the owl that Ron got as a gift, I think from his parents. Maybe it was from his parents. As a replacement for his pet Scabbers. And the reason he got a... Oh! Hello, welcome on in. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Raiders. Pleased to see you. I don't think I've met you before, Tay, so if you would kindly tell me what you were up to today. I really do appreciate it. Looks like you were streaming some makers and crafting type content, so do share. My name is Delenn, and normally I play Minecraft, but once a week I try and do a bit of a chill out and usually build Lego on a Friday. And so we are working on the...
Hello there.
We are working on the Hogwarts Castle Owlery because I'm a bit of a Harry Potter fan. And nut wouldn't be the word for it because I'm not totally insane yet. So welcome on in to Marvelous Tay and all the raiders that came with. Welcome in Mbinda and to Lightning Builder. So let's see what we got. It was great. Build the Bugle for a bit. Ooh, is that the Daily Bugle tall tower? I've seen it, and I haven't had the opportunity to have a close-up. I have a feeling that Fantastic Sherlock Fox, who gets around in the Lego world a little more than I do, is well versed in some of the things that have been going on in the Lego community, more so than I. But I appreciate everybody coming in, and thank you very much for the honor of having your company. Where am I? Okay, I got half. So I normally read out sometimes I do 3 hours on Fridays, sometimes I do 2. We'll see how we're doing on this one if we're on a roll. Otherwise, if we're on a roll, we'll keep going. Otherwise, we'll cut it. I'm staring at this going, where's the other half? Right under my nose. It's awesome to see so many cool folks. What did you like about the Bugle build so far? Any particularly interesting techniques or interesting details as terms of references, possibly? References to the media that it came from? Because it's been a while since I've dealt with I believe that's the Superman IP. You're still more on it than I am, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. So I'm theoretically a stay-at-home mom, and just this week, actually yesterday, was our kid's last day. We have a little printed owl cookie. Yesterday was our kid's last day at school for this season, or for the year. So they're actually very kindly putting up with the fact that I'm streaming today, while Fantastic Sherlock Fox is both modding and attempting to put up with work and run parent interference. But this is, in Canada, this is our long weekend. Oh, Marvel, right, okay. Of course, sadly I have to raid and run, need to go to work. Sit back and watch the stream. No problem. Vending machine's your fave so far. Awesome. I would love to hear more about that when you have more time. I do appreciate that you dropped in and gave us your company for a few seconds. And I hope that your travel to work is short and sweet and that you have a rather productive day on a Friday. So have yourself a great time, and thanks for coming by. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Fox was, in Canada, it's a long day. Long day? Probably that too. It's a long weekend this weekend. While the people south of the 49th, the ones call themselves US, there we go. I'm looking, okay. I'm going to sort while I chitter chatter because, once again, can't find the piece, and it's going to be under my nose. But those south of the border have July 4th coming up, so their quote-unquote long weekend is probably going to be next weekend. I'm pulling out on the 4th in Canada to go to a Scout Jamboree, which is what I was just nattering on about. Anyway, the point, well, I guess there isn't a point. It's me, I don't have a point. But where I was going with that is in Canada, our national day is July 1st. So we usually, like everybody will get July 1st off if it's a weekday. Or often they'll get a day in lieu if it would be their normally scheduled day off. And so that usually means in Canada, if July 1st falls on, say, a Sunday, then you'd get the Monday off anyways. Some companies will give you the Friday off prior to when the long weekend falls on a Monday, or sorry, on a Sunday or whatever, so that people, who are going to take off for a long weekend camping or whatever, travel to visit people, so that those individuals don't just, abscond from the office. The company just says, okay, well, they're not going to be here anyways. We might as well shut down for the day. We have an excuse. And this time, Fantastic Sherlock Fox's company, I believe, rather than giving them the Friday off, since the holiday falls on Monday, they gave them the Tuesday off, which doesn't, I mean, it works for me in terms of prepping for travel, but it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Okay, I'm not seeing the piece. In the picture, what the instructions are asking for is we've got the Ilops Premium Owl Treats, the Ilops Owl Emporium, and it's supposed to have a 1x2 flat in tan, but I've only seen the flats in gray around here, and I'm just being dumb and not seeing it in tan, maybe? So what I'm just going to do is check my spares bin and just see what I've got handy. Given that it's on top of a printed piece, I'm fairly certain that it's going to be one that's visible as opposed to hiding, so I can't just grab any old color. Oh, luck. Okay, well. I'm short a 1x2 piece anyways. So, what can I do? Oh, actually, I'm going to fake it out then. Use 2 1x1 flat piles. Sacrilege, I know. But it will do the trick in terms of physical space, and if it's as visible as I think it's going to be, then when I finally go, aha, there's the piece. And then, see, I did exactly what I was just about to tell you about. When I say, aha, there's the piece, because I go to put the plastic away in the recycle bin and find out it's stuck in the plastic. There we go. See, it just got stuck. That on. So yeah, Fox is probably running 6 different hats at the moment. So I don't know if he's going to want to join me in the evening for a Minecraft stream or not. In any case, Geek Out has changed. Geek Out is actually a physical game that has cards where you normally bet on whether or not you can actually complete the target. Excuse me. But in my streams, we just use them for conversation starters or conversation targets. So if you know the material, feel free to hop in and give us your thoughts. And there's no points awarded, I'm afraid. I'm not that coordinated. Okay. Come on. This one goes there. That one goes there. Okay. So, anyways, where was I going with this? Yeah. So the topic for this particular Geek Out has swapped, and it has become 2000s or later. It's the 2000s set. That's what that refers to. Category was miscellaneous, so it could be anything and everything. And in this case, it happens to be talking about 3 models of sports car. I think this one's probably up several people's alley. Even if you're a Lego preference person, I'm sure you could probably think of some of the Lego Speed series. They've done, think of brands, but they've done a bunch of them. But yeah, this is much more up Sherlock Fox's alley in terms of questions than mine. We had one earlier that was all about named Muppets, and I just rattled off a bunch of them. So some of them are really my kind of thing, and some of them I have no clue, and I just hope someone in chat knows. But I'm not a great sports car person. And I'm actually still having fun chewing on who would be the best or worst person to be stuck in an elevator with. Now that I think about it, actually, on a silly note, sort of, a bad person to be stuck in an elevator with would probably be, it sounds silly, but anybody who's a villain of sorts, you know, a criminal of sorts, who's just about to do their plan, and that's what they're going up the elevator for, but who happens to be dumb enough to monologue about it in the elevator. Sort of that whole, Jeepers Creepers, I was going to go, I don't know, set fire to the mailroom, but now that I'm stuck in this stupid elevator, blah, 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 and then you find out later on somebody set fire to the mailroom, you know, having been in the elevator with that guy probably wouldn't have been great. I mean, even more, even like a vandal, like that. Who would want to be stuck in an elevator with a vandal? Like, jeepers! I sure hope they get me out of here before somebody discovers the smashing I did to the coffee machine in the old office. Buddy, not great. Okay, I'm a little bit odd when I say stuff like that. Okay, gray. So, as far as my Lego collection goes, I should... My office is a little bit messy at the moment, but I should show you the wall behind me. Let's see if we can get a half-decent look at that. Thank you for rolling Geek Out. Oh, nope. Oh, I see. Botter Oswin. I should change that guy's name, so I can use him elsewhere. Anyway, let's see if I can get a look at... Do I have a chat screen? Yes. Okay. Text chat off that one. So you'll have to excuse... Ooh. Just give me a second. This is not working. Wrong way. There we go. You'll have to excuse some of the mess. It's kind of crazy. So here is... Let's turn off the background just briefly. Where's chat? This one. Not an image, no. Frame background. There we go. So you can see I have a lot of random Lego stuff at the back, a lot of Harry Potter themed sets all over. And yes, there's a couple Squishmallows over there. What you can't see above my head on that one, I don't have a camera pan manually, so let's just this way. There we go. So there's the top, and you can see they've got some more Hogwarts Castle sets hiding in behind. They're not connected, but that's a shot of the 46-inch long Hogwarts, or shame on me, the 46-inch long Orient Express set that I got for Christmas. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, and the only other one you can't see from here is I have one of the Hogwarts Express sets that is sitting on top of a desk off to, I think it's that side. Yeah, over there. I've got, and it's only about camera. Yay long, maybe? Something like that. So yeah, people have asked me what am I using? That. Just Yeti, nothing too exciting. Not Yeti, Elgato. And this one, just Logitech, nothing too exciting there. You know, run of the mill, but it does the trick. Okay, let's get back to Lego. Do I need any more head? This is fine. That just sounds wrong, but we will stay as family friendly as possible. Okay. So, Lego, where were we? We can roll this one forward. Alright. So, I'm still working on the zooms and the angles because this gets really dark down below. You can see all the shadowing. Yet, if I go too much else, like brighter, it ends up all over the place. So, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Alright. 2 of these. 1 and 2. For Geek Out, Ferrari, Maserati, and Lamborghini. Now, are those makers or models? Because I mean, I would have called those makers. For example, you were telling me yesterday, recently anyways, about some version that was a spider. You know? I mean, we could go with, well, I wouldn't necessarily call it a sports car, but I mean, we could say, you know, Tesla model, whatever, and in ludicrous mode. But I mean, that's like trying to call a Dodge Durango a sports car. It's just not happening. All right. So, like, we've got the Porsche 911, I think, and there was a submodel of that, the Carrera, I think it was. I'm not very good at sports cars. I'm trying to, honestly, when you mention, like, when the thing asks for sports cars, my brain starts going, what do I remember Jeremy Clarkson whining about? Or James May say works well for his fizzy spot. which just sounds all kinds of strange. Yes, it did say models. Testarossa, the Countach, and the Ghibli. There you go. Got it. The Ghibli was named after. Just curious. Okay, so aughts. Supposedly aughts are later to film series, trilogy, or more. As long as you don't go crazy old with it, we can flex that timing, because, as I said before, I'm terrible with remembering movie dates as in when things were filmed. But we can probably go with trilogy or more. I guess you can go with both Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. That's kind of cheesy, though. I mean, they've even since the aughts, they've been still making Fast and the Furious series movies. So even though it may not have started then, they've still been making them since then. At least 3 or more. They did actually put the. So there is a Durango Hellcat, and most of the Durangos are actually discontinued, and I believe ours is on the way out, which is probably one short of the top. But yeah, it's actually kind of funny because I've seen a few YouTube videos where they just open up the engine and let the Hellcat engine go, and it's insane. One of the reasons we've got a Durango is actually because we wanted a van / minivan sort of seating area for the family, but we wanted it to have enough tow power that we could tow just about any rented trailer, travel trailer style that we would like, so that we can go on family vacation trips and stuff together. I have not got Fox to actually camp in a tent yet. I've tried. He said he would a few times, and we just, A, never got around to it, and B, frankly, I know that's not his style. He's not necessarily as much of a Marriott camper or a hotel camper anymore. I used to call him that. I mean, I still use the phrase, but I'm not as hung up on it anymore. But we needed to have something that pulled better, and we were quite surprised when I've got a Honda Ridgeline, and it only pulls about 5,000 pounds, whereas the capacity on a Durango, one we've got, does about 8,000. And that's fine because it's a 246. It's a 6-seater. So we've got a 6-seater vehicle that tows about 8,000, which is great. Owlery sports car. True. That actually is one of the things. Like, we don't have the Hellcat edition, but it definitely has a lot of get up and go. And one of the things that our kids get a huge kick out of is sometimes when we're out on the highway and you can get away with just letting it go and letting it just open up and roar, then Fantastic Sherlock Fox does that. It definitely has a sports mode, which automatically turns off a lot of the eco and other things. And it's got one of those, what do you call it? I was going to say fake manual shifts. They call it sport shift in a lot of cars, but yeah. And I'll show you the owl in just a second. Pause for that. There you go. There's the owl statue, I believe, because it doesn't have any paint on it. Though it's the same as the head wig, usually done in white. Oh, yeah, I've got one here. So you can see it's head wig usually done in white, same model. They just didn't paint it, they did it in tan. But yeah, our kids love it when he opens up and lets it go. Ours is the V8 Hemi, perfect. And it does have quite a roar. I love it for that. I'm too chicken to drive it that way. Fox is much better at that. What else? Though sometimes I kind of roll my eyes at him, which is not really fair. Where was I going with that? There was a sports comment. There was something I was going to say about that, and I can't remember what it was. Anyway. But it definitely does the job. And the kids love it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. But we were joking a little bit, and I was surprised to realize that our that our V8 Hemis still, you know, they think it, or whoever built it, like designed it, figures that it's sporty enough that it still comes with paddle shifters. I find that funny. Manumatic. Ooh. Manumatic, huh? Somehow sport shift sounds a little cooler to me. Sort of, manumatic reminds me of when you have to do things manually instead of automatically, and sometimes you have to apply mandrolics, which is just basically manual labor. But, good question. All I know is I don't like the bills. So, as you guys are well aware, the gas prices are going up and up and up for everybody these days. You know, it's evil and a half. And they are up here as well. And Canada goes in liters instead of gallons. It does liters instead of gallons. But even so, and our Canadian dollar is a little bit smaller value, usually, than an American one. But it still chokes me up when I'm getting, you know, easily triple digits to fill the car. I mean, I'm not one of those people who's all that great with the whole back in my day when I was a kid type of story. It's not like you're going to say, you know, they gave you a nickel and you could go buy a whole handful of candy at the store. I'm not that old, thank heavens. But that said, we're now looking at, I'm trying to remember what the liters were. I think it was, we used mid-grade on our truck. I don't know what the Durango takes actually, but it was, last time I filled 171.9 cents per liter. And I think our truck was about a 60-liter fill, something like that. So we were easily talking triple digits by the time we got taxes and whatnot in there. Just frustrating. Frustrating how much gas costs these days. Well, it's actually funny, that you say that you've got a Ram. I've got a scouter friend who's got a Ram as well, and he's the one who usually tows our scout trailer. That way we don't have to worry about how much we put in it, for one. Also, he has no problem doing towing, whereas I've never actually officially been trained, and Fox isn't a scout leader, so I can have him pull things out to site if we need to in a pinch, but I generally tend not to. Anyway, our other leader who drives the Ram truck will happily tow all sorts of things, but what he envies is I take the Ridgeline to camps, and he always envies the fact that I can hide things in a trunk. So in other words, it looks like it's got a lot more going on, a lot more space, because you don't necessarily realize how much you can get if you've got a truck bed and a back. Let's see. Can I do this conversion? I don't think I have a money conversion on here. Would be nice. Okay, let's see. What do we have? So we're going to go new tab. I'm asking the internet. 171. Good spell. 171.9 cents. CDN. Whoa. You don't want to know how I spelled that badly. In USD per gallon. I'm just going to see if Google can actually figure that out. Nope. Nope. Although it sent me to simple online gas calculator. Didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah. Okay, hello. Online calculator. What have we got? Gallons? No. Yeah, that's not helping. No, okay, that's not helping. Okay, never mind. I'll have to look that up another way. I'll post it in Discord later, but it's not a huge deal. $3 and change per gallon here, 30-ish gallon tank on my truck. Okay, so you're looking at pre-tax about $90. Do I have a... That's what I want to know. Actions. Convert. Gallons is one I don't have, unfortunately. I can do it in fluid ounces, which is not so helpful. Too bad. Too bad, so sad. Let's see. I'd ask Google, but it's not so helpful. Here. Let's actually figure out where we are. You had to try. I know. I know. New tab. Okay. 30 gallons in liters. Okay, so 30 gallons is about 113 and a half liters. $9,000 milliliters? What the heck is that? 90 liters? Yeah, no, I just don't have any gallons and liters settings. The gallon one is the one that's missing. I could do it in fluid ounces, but it's not going to help you much. Yeah. So yeah, a US liquid gallon, 30 US liquid gallons is about 113 or 114 liters. And then... What the heck? Sorry, somebody bothered to actually ask the internet how big a Canadian gallon was in liters. That doesn't make any sense at all. Anyways, okay, so yeah, you're looking... That's definitely a lot more than ours. It's like double our truck. Which makes sense. I mean, ours is just a little itty-bitty thing, right? But yeah, and you probably get a lot more mileage out of it too. I'm actually a little worried about how much I'm going to be spending this coming week in fuel, but I'm at the point right now with the vehicle that really it should be filled, as in I'm below a quarter. I know it's the summer, and I don't usually let the vehicle idle. That said, oops, sorry, next bag. That said, that I don't know if I'll be able to get through till end of day Wednesday with some of the errands and things I've got to do without filling the tank, which is then becomes, okay, well, how do I, figure out how much gas we used on the trip in terms of pricing and billing, because I may be able to claim a bit of it back. I don't know. We'll see. That's a big question mark in the air. All right, so this bag, derailing to something a little bit less oddball. Grumpy. I guess Grumpy is the only face he's got. Okay, so this one, we're building Argus Filch. He's got a very different look. I'll show you the front and the back. Here's Argus with his grumpy face. I'll give you his hair in a second. You can see that he's got some interesting printing on his outfit. Nice little belt and some wrinkles and whatever. Very rumpled and crumpled, and I mean, yes, he's old, but the other part of it is he does not have the ability to smarten his clothing up the way a lot of the others do, and no spoilers on that one, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Sadly, he and I share something in common, but that's a whole different story. And so they gave us the double head, but then his hair, as we may have seen in previous sets, because I don't think this is a new Argus. I'll have to look it up. But he's definitely got hairline issues. This is far less hair than you see on the actor when they did the movies. Thinning, for sure, but not that thin. Which actually was kind of funny that I was watching Game of Thrones a little bit, the very first season, when... before it got to be HBO'd, let's put it that way, and I was going, oh, hey, look, it's the Filch guy. Fox hates it when I do that. But I don't always remember actors by names, and sometimes have trouble splitting them from the roles they've played. So, for example, though he's not playing the same role, clearly, Elrond from Lord of the Rings is in The Matrix, right? Like, that's how it goes. All right, so let's see, what do we got here? One of these. Your wife has the same fuel range? Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, on the range, okay, once again, and this, do we have? Okay, so Fox tells me that I have, I can do this one. Convert. In the city, I get about 585 kilometers. Kilometers to miles. Yeah, somewhere in there. That's what I get in the city, so probably about 360-ish miles on a tank in the city. I'm told by Fox that I get more on the highway when I'm not towing. I actually have never really paid attention, even though I drive this thing to scout camps a lot. I just more worry about the fact that I'm usually heavy foot, so that's my big concern. That's a big tank. Here's the funny thing, yeah. Big tanks on long drives are fantastic, because you don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to be, as frequently, whether or not you're going to be at a place you could fill them. When you start to get low, more likely you'll have seen a place to fill them at a reasonable time. But unfortunately, the little ones, not so much. So I do actually have to take a look at my route sometime this weekend and just make sure I'm not taking stupid decisions. Because one of the other problems in Canada is I haven't heard a whole lot yet, but the last couple of years have been really rough in British Columbia for the fire season, which can cause road closures due to flames and smoke and everything else. So because of that, I need to make sure that I've got a few different places picked should we end up needing to detour for safety purposes. Tip this a little bit. I'm not using the right hand edge so much. There we go. And so I'm needing to pre-plan the route. I think I might also do a temporary low-cost subscription to a service that gives me weather on the way. So as conditions change, it'll actually tell you in different segments of the road what the conditions are like. Visibility, slipperiness, smoke, yada, yada, yada. And that might be helpful. It's one of those ones where I think it's like you watch a couple ads and you get 24 hours of free service. So, and then you can actually subscribe for a brief period, and then if you cancel, you get that it's prorated. So you get part of it back. At least that's what I read before, although one of their Twitter posts said that they might be discontinuing that part of it. But I quite like that notion, even being able to do temporary for 24 hours at a pop, because if I get myself a freebie of 24 hours and then I get another freebie of 24 hours, that gets me my drive out to the coast. 10 days if I don't really need it. And then one more day of 24 hours. Actually, two, I guess. 24 stints will get me back into the city. And then I don't need it again for, 5 months at least, if not more. I wish I could share a subscription with someone else in the family, like in the extended family who drives. But unfortunately, they're pretty fussy about that. I'm one of those people that use GPS all the time. Whether you need to or not. How did I? Oh, I see. So the first round had a second piece on top. The second round does not. That's the difference. Okay. So anyway, I'm looking forward to... I generally like road trips. I've always grown up liking road trips. I've only ever had one road trip that really sucked, but that was when I was really, really little. And my brother and I were both partially responsible for getting my mother to roll our minivan. So yeah, that's the only road trip I can think of that has ever sucked badly. Just one of those ones, every parent has, not necessarily rolled the vehicle, but every parent has had the situation where you've got your kids in the back, the siblings, they're fighting about something, and you either yell in the rearview mirror, or in her case, you turn to yell over her shoulder, which usually was not a problem, but in that case, she took the wheel with her. And So she yelled at us to stop fighting, and next thing we know, we were rolling. So yeah, that's why I say I'm partially responsible. She still tells me it's my fault. Me and my brother together. But he's 3 years my junior, so there's, you know, a bit more of the, hey, you're older, you should know better. Okay, I am like a handful of years off the half-century mark, and my mother is still telling me about that. It's not a rubbing it in per se kind of thing. It was just the, you probably enjoyed your road trips except for that one time. Blah, 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 blah. Except for that one time. Oh, and remember, strangers are people you generally don't talk to, but if they need to help you, you know, like that one time. It's like, really, Mom? That's enough. So yeah, I do generally like road trips. We don't often get as many road trip opportunities as I would like. Partly because the things within reasonable driving distance from our house in a day trip sense, my kids have already seen because I dragged them when they were younger. Little adventures. We like doing silly things. So we used to do things like going to an auto museum. We went, where else did we go? I don't remember where else we'd been that was interesting. Well, sort of. Sorry, this is bugging me. Too much, wrong way. I need to come back, right? Oh, nope, that's not. Come on, camera. Tip. There we go. Come back, sort of. Close enough. So we do those sorts of things, you know, the parks where you get to go see the National Historic Element or painted stones or, you know, I would say, you know, but not everybody has those sorts of things near them. But we did a lot of those things when they were younger, so they're less interested now. We do go to, there's a small town, about, what, hour and a half, I guess 2 hours west from here. And it's fairly famous, it's called Banff. And it's in Canada's first and largest national park. And it's very, you know, awesome mountainous, because we live in the prairie section of the province. So going to Banff is in the mountains, technically, but it's sort of the foothilly part of it, I guess. You pass the foothills to get there. So, but people do like to go there for day trips and picnics and so on. Okay, so there's the top. And I'm looking at the bags on the floor and thinking, you know, we might get this one done today. Which means I don't have a half-built Lego hanging over my head. Excuse me. 790 kilometer range for you, but yeah, big tank doesn't change how much you feel you actually use, just means you fill up less often but spend more when you do. Very, very true. Yeah, your pocket hurts more, for sure. But the number of times you have to get out and do that. I mean, my mom used to say when she had her little sedan when I was a kid, she used to say that it was a good excuse to get out and have a stretch. And my mother-in-law used to say that it was a great excuse to go and get a fresh coffee. I think the one road trip I took with my in-laws, we actually had quite a few stops for coffee. And in my head, I remember one where I don't think we actually needed to stop for anything other than she wanted a coffee. I would have just kept going, like, whatever. But although I've jokingly suggested, or it's been jokingly suggested at our Scout leadership meeting, because our group is all driving out. I only have to take my kids, and just the way the vehicles turned out. But we were joking that, you know, we might pass each other on the road at some point on the way home, and see other people having introduced the kids to what I affectionately knew growing up as the Chinese fire drill. But basically, you pull over, you hop out, you run around the vehicle twice, and then you get back in. Some people do that at stoplights. I could never do that at a stoplight, but I've seen it plenty of times on the side of the road. That's something I miss about music growing up. I know it sounds dumb, but now that we have streaming systems like, you know, I could say streaming MP3s, but streaming whatever, music systems, we don't necessarily pull over as much as we used to. Because one of the things I was used to growing up and I loved in the era of CDs is when a CD would run about 60 to 67 minutes, more or less, depending on the songs you had in it. Like some artists were longer, but usually that's about all that fit on a CD. So we'd play a CD in the car, and when the CD ended, that's when you'd switch drivers. And the general rule of thumb was, for the most part, the driver gets to pick the music. Of course, when my brother and I weren't old enough to drive, there were, within reason, we were allowed to pick music every once in a while, but the driver was always allowed to veto what the music was. And I think I'm going to be using that rule, because I can always veto it. The other piece we didn't worry about too much, of course, is in my family, we didn't all have headphones and cassette players and stuff. I mean, I had my player when I got a little older, but when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to take it with me on trips. So it was, you listen to what everybody else listened to, period. You be social. And I think I'm going to bend that rule a little bit, because my kids can get kind of cranky if they're social too long. Woohoo! And I just dropped that on the floor. Fantastic. All right. I have a spare one. Nope. Okay. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Let's hope I don't roll over it. Becky says, when I tow our camper, me and my wife would take different cars on trips. Ooh. Interesting. Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why we went with the Durango, was because I didn't really want to do that. Not a right or wrong, just different. But I mean, it gives people flex, right? To be able to get out as necessary if you've got different vehicles. Oh, I see. You and the dogs pulled the trailer. The wife and the kids took her vehicle. That way I could stop using the bathroom more often. I didn't have to maneuver the camper in and out of parking lots. Yeah, that makes plenty of sense. And the dogs would also pose a problem in some locations, because if a spot that might have a public washroom where you can take the kids doesn't always have a green space where you can let the dog out, or dogs plural. Yeah, I don't think we ever camped with our dog. Okay, let me correct that. We only tried camping with our dog once, and I think that was the last time that Fantastic Dog Fox was in a tent. And it's been a few years since we had our dog. But we did try, I don't think we ever took the dog in a trailer because they were always rented. We didn't want to do that, but we boarded the dog a few times. Or my parents took care of him. That was actually another one that was popular. My parents took care of the dog. Initially, it started out that we were just stuck one time and asked, hey, can you take care of the dog? And then it became a point where, unless they were unavailable, they just assumed, oh yeah, we've got this, we've got a trip booked, therefore they're going to take the dog. Okay, whatever. If they really didn't want to, there was one trip where for some reason, my dad got in his head that he really didn't want to board the dog, but he had no problem taking the dog for walks. So he would come over like 3 times in a day to let the dog out and sometimes give him a brief walk, feed him, fill him, whatever, and then shut him back up in the house and they leave again, which is like a 15-minute drive away from our house. I thought that was sort of an odd one, but he's getting to the point now where he's just odd generally, so I don't question it much anymore. But yeah, I think we didn't like the fact that the dog didn't like camping with us. I think he just wanted he didn't like the noises. So in order to get him to sleep at night, we ended up having to put his crate inside our tent. And even so, when we let him out in the morning just to chill with us, while we were getting ready and whatever, we still have to tie the strings, we had to put strings through the zippers on the tent doors and tie them closed. He would never crash through and rip them, but if they weren't tied, he would actually nose the zippers apart and get out. Which, thankfully, never got too far, but I mean, it was just something that we saw one trip and said, nope, never again. I used to want to have a dog that I could camp with when I was growing up. My grandmother did. But then again, ours was like a 50-pound Beagle Hound cross that, like when my husband and I took him camping. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if the dog I grew up with ever came camping with us. She might have once or twice. I don't remember. She was far better behaved in terms of in tents. Because I know she's slept in the tent with me in the backyard many times. But my grandmother's dog was a little Australian Silky Terrier. And my grandmother loved travel trailering. So she'd move out with her dog in May and come back in October when it started to be snowing enough that she couldn't stay out there. And she didn't drive, so we always have to drop her off, pick her up. So this whole, like, looked like a moving day kind of thing. Yeah. Well, that's it. Potty training kids is always challenging when it comes to road trips. I know people who still, like, they're all their kids are now 8, I think. Maybe 7 or 8. And, but due to medical issues, they still take a porta toilet with them. Just because the kid doesn't, unfortunately, have a very large bladder space. So if you try to hold off the liquids so that the kid doesn't have to go as often, then unfortunately he comes down dehydrated. But if you let him drink enough fluids to avoid the dehydration, then he feels like he's got to go every 20 minutes. Like, it's kind of annoying. It's just, I feel bad for him, to be honest with you. But in any case, so one of the conversations that my scout leader friend and I had over this sort of thing was the fact that I had just neglected to remove it from my phone, but I still apparently have an app on my phone called, I think it's like Toilet Finder, or something like that. And then there's one other one I've got. So for some reason I have 2 of these apps on my phone. I guess I might as well just leave them there because long road trips, they're handy, or yeah, I've used them for a bunch of things. But anyway, so we were having conversations on apps that tell you where the washroom is. And one of the ones I use is also has crowdsourcing in it, such that if there's a spot where you will get in super huge trouble if you do the roadside pullover business, even if you bring your potty with you, then the public has commented on where those spots are so that you don't get in trouble. Sorry, I didn't realize I was pushing back. We've done the top layer with another piece that's going to rotate and spin, and there's a ladder sitting inside. It needs to be taken by owl post, apparently. But I don't actually have a concern with a lot of these places because, I mean, frequently, on some of the major highways, even in Canada, we're big, we're open space, we don't have as much roadside spaces. I mean, Texas might actually have a good amount of space, but some of the more prairie open breadbasket states might have, long runs of open space. California certainly didn't. It actually surprised me how little open space they had. Because when I went with Fantastic Sherlock Fox just for a road trip, just before we had kids, even then it still surprised me how you could go. It felt like 15 minutes, and they'd say, "Oh yeah, you're totally out of town," and then there's like the big sign that says, "Oh, you're in the next county," and it felt like we weren't actually out of town anywhere. We see more dead space, open space, technically within our city, coming to my house than we ever saw between places in California. So yeah, it's one of those. We're open space. We're not, dead space per se. I mean, and people in some provinces in Canada would say, well, you're crazy. There's plenty of cities and whatnot. It depends what part of the provinces you live in. Like, it feels, I don't know, it can feel like there's nowhere for hours. Particularly when it definitely feels like there's nowhere for hours when you have kids that need the washroom, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Spit. I've also been stuck, actually. In Alberta, there is two major cities, basically. I live in Calgary, which is the south one. Well, okay, it's more than 2, but those are the 2 most people talk about. And I live in the south one, and then the north one is called Edmonton. And between here and there, just south of a city called Red Deer, so that's roughly our halfway point, there is Sylvan would be the closest? Yeah, Sylvan Lake. It's a nice big lake. And on that Sylvan Lake, there was a campground that we used at Scouts called Camp Woods. But, so we're dividing even further. And you guys don't need to know about the geography really, but dividing even further, we had there's a town called Bowden, and it's not one that you tend to hear about in the news or much. But the thing is, Bowden has an institution, and I mean that quite literally. It's where it's like a minimum security prison type of place, I guess. And so this place, Bowden, is great. But because maybe it's for security reasons, I don't know. But anyways, it's the small town nearby also doesn't have a whole lot. It's just a small town. So this Bowden section of the highway, there really is no turnoffs. Like, none. One visitor's center, I think. And then it's into the small town private stuff. There's no public washrooms elsewhere. However, unfortunately, statistically, it's abnormally high, and nobody really knows why, but it's abnormally high for having road accidents on the highway. And because there's like the one visitor center you may or may not be able to get turned off to, there's nowhere to go around. You can be stuck on the highway just sitting there for like 2.5 or 3 hours till something manages to work its way through and clear whatever was the accident. And one was, I can't remember if it was spring or fall, but it was a hot shoulder season, and I was coming back, I think, going to camp. And we were supposed to be at camp as a leader, an hour before the kids. Well, that just doesn't happen. Just because you're me. But anyways, so we were headed up there, and we would have been on time. But in the middle of the completely fine weather, no, like, sun, beautiful, whatever, we unfortunately had a situation where somehow a semi had managed to jackknife on the highway. I was really glad the camp we were going to had half-decent cell coverage, so I messaged the other leaders and said, this is what's going on. There is no way I'm going to get there on time. On the other hand, the highway is so jammed up that you're not going to get the parents with the kids there early either. So, yeah, we were stuck there. And that's when you learn things. On the way back, we got stuck. It's a much smaller jam. But that's when you learn things on the way back, like certain campfire songs can be sung for an hour and 45 minutes consistently, with different verses. So yeah, I'm not gonna bore you with singing campfire songs, especially since we've got 15 minutes left, and we're on the last bag, so that's fine. But if you guys are familiar with the Quartermaster's store, I think one of the most well-known verses is like, there's beans trying on their jeans in the store. Anyway, the point to that was you can make up any rhymes you want to go with this thing. And we did it consistently for an hour and 45 minutes. Then eventually we actually ran out of ideas. So we decided that was fine. We're going to chill out. I was just going to turn on some oldies tunes. And at that point, oldies still qualified as, well, I guess by then oldies included 80s music, maybe? Whatever it is, basically, if you want to figure out oldies in our city, like for radio stations and stuff, take the decade you're in and basically go 30 years back, and that's the newest stuff they'll call oldies. Thank you, Fox, for switching Geek Out. The beep and Geek Out has become for fictional geek characters in literature. That's not a typo. So anyway, I mean, you can geek about almost anything, right? So that's going to work. But yeah, we spent that long singing the same song. And so I turned on some oldies, and the kids went off to sleep, having a nap, which I thought was a really smart idea. But then they woke up, and my daughter says, "Can we sing some more campfire songs?" I'm like, which one? Which song? She goes, well, I got some more ideas. Like, no. Not on the same trip, thanks. So, yeah, I will not mention that song on our particular road trip we're going on this time. We probably could, because we've done that one at camp a few times, and it's not a little kid's song, like it's a half-decent camp song, but it's one that, once I've done it that long, I now have enough fodder for an earworm that will last for weeks. And it will come up in my head at the worst times. So yeah, I just don't want to... I haven't mentioned enough of it on stream today for me to actually have a problem, but there's potential. Okay, so we're looking at the top of the hour is the aim. I'm just trying to see if we can get there. So this bit goes on here, which then gets this with flat top. We'll be possibly playing a license plate game variety. Because we're going to be on one of the major highways passing a lot of semi-touristy destinations, I think that it might be viable. In Canada, it's actually kind of funny, or at least for us, where I was, even when we said we were in Banff, there's a lake nearby, also fairly well known, called Lake Louise. I'm looking for a fourth one of these little stud bits, and I can't seem to see it, so let's get the other pieces on first. But anyways, oh yeah, there it is. So Lake Louise has a fairly large parking lot, okay? And with this large parking lot, of course, you'll see people from all around North America with their vehicles. So it's kind of amusing, because if you want to play a license plate game, you can actually fit it in before lunch if you just go walking around the parking lot. In Canada, of course, we only have 10 provinces and 3 territories. The 3 territories, generally, you don't see a whole lot of their vehicles. Sometimes you will if it's the Yukon, but the other 2 you generally don't see much. But you can actually get pretty far in Canada playing the Collect All 50 States American license plate game variety just by walking around major tourist destination parking lots. I find kind of amusing. I'm actually hoping to do like just a bit of a verbal game with my kids at camp with regards to it's a Pacific event, so although most of the participants are going to be Canadian or American, we will have internationals as well, which means that I'm going to try and see if we can see how many different countries or regions, I guess, if they want to break it up further. How many different countries or regions have you met somebody from or seen other scout groups from? Because it's always, I think it's healthy for the kids to mingle a little bit, even though mine can be a bit shy on that front. All right. Just about there. I think we're going to make it. So there's another one of those head wigs like we had earlier, but that's the real deal, as in the painted up one. I don't know which one this is. There's no large gray, but browns and sort of reddish. I like the reddish one. Oh, sorry. I'm this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I like the brown, the reddish on the far right. There's no gray at the moment representing Errol, the Weasley's owl. Probably a good thing. Errol can't find his way through a wet paper bag. Alright, so we've got the tile that's supposed to go here. We're close enough to the end. I'm actually going to hold that aside because I can add it later, and we'll reveal that at the end. Okay, so this one goes back here. Probably a good thing the train of thought just left the station, because I had a really weird feeling all of a sudden that something was very off. And I couldn't quite place it. So anyway, that's fine. I'm hoping, for everybody's sake, that by the end of the day we shall have our heat pump installed. Well, technically it's installed already, but as in ready to use. fully and most efficiently. We'll see. We got it started on Monday. The last weekend, Fantastic Chalkbox had to clear out a lot of our storage room. And this week, he's been helping shepherd the installers around the house, more or less, answering questions and so forth. That was Monday and Tuesday. They were originally supposed to be done on Tuesday, but for various reasons, we've got a rather unique install. So we've got them back again today, basically. So this section, did I miss something? Oh, yeah. Owl goes in on the plate. There's a central pin. They want me to turn it. This way goes up top. I will quickly back the zoom out again. I go overhead cam, property, configure. Let's get rid of the zoom. All right, and I'll still have to tip it over. That's okay. There we go. So this thing is nice and tall. You can start to see. Lovely tall. We're on the last bag anyway, so it's just a couple little knick-knack bits here and there. On the top level, I don't think I have enough lighting in here at the moment. My overhead light could probably be brighter, but I'm not entirely sure at the moment how to turn up the bulbs, so we'll just go with it. I've got, what's they're called? Nanoleaf smart bulbs in my room, but I haven't actually taught myself how to use them. That's on my to-do list, just wasn't high priority. Oh, well, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that. Follows are purposely kind of muted. The reason for that is that if someone's just been lurking, I don't normally like that people call them out. However, and I know I may have just done the same for you. However, I recognize also that I did say hello earlier on in the stream and there was some conversation there. So I knew you were here. But generally I won't. That's why they don't make a whole lot of noise. I think there's also a possibility that my alert isn't working, but I'll have to double check that. Lamps. And we're just placing owls. So this guy goes on the lower side, bring in the window. Tip him a little bit, maybe? Nope, it's not. His tail gets in the way. So, Hedwig looking one, they want to land in the window with his back. Not sure why, but I'll go with it. He's just coming in from a flight or something. And then this guy can go in the center. I'm starting to feel a little weirded out because I have two black, yeah, got two these little things. Usually when there's a pair of them, something has gone wrong, but I can't see anywhere that they seem to be critical. So take one quick boo, and then we'll do a quick run through of the build. Oops, wrong way. Backwards. Looking at the parts listings and just see what did I talk through? I might have needed those. Ah, did I? No. Oh, aha. Duh. Okay. Easy enough to fix. That'll give the roof more stability as well. Much better. Okay. I'm going backwards. 900. And 3. Alright, so I'm going to hide that one. Here's the instructions. Hide them. And yeah, messy desk. Messy, messy, messy desk. Apparently I have appointments later. Blood Harmony forever ago. Apparently I've been playing the song notices up in the wrong corner because that's blocked by the Lego instructions. Okay, so here's what we've got. There's a big boo from the back. Comes all the way up this way. And then we'll give her a flip. And that's tower from the other side. Kind of neat. I like it a lot. And you can spin the little thing at the bottom. And we've got our 3 characters, right? So I think Cho was famously standing on the balcony thing. And okay, I guess we'll go over there. Harry, you can stand down here. Why not? Or Cho, maybe. Maybe. Your arm actually fit. Come on, dude. That's not a great design if you can't stand on it. There we go. Built your brat. Put you down here. Alright. So that's the works, except for the one last piece is the reveal of the tile. Okay, so there's the ugly hand. Burp. We have... Put this upside down. No idea who that is. I'm going to bet it's probably a version of Dumbledore. If it ever will. Huh. Or not. Maybe? Nope. Most of the time, doesn't want to. There we go. Ha! Finally. There we go. He looks kind of goofy, but he's got half-rimmed glasses, long beard and stuff. Doesn't say who it is. Maybe I'll check the book and see. But that portrait is supposed to go on the top in the tower. Oops. There we go. Now they come with places to store them, whereas the little purple tiles from the previous seasons don't actually have a place to store them. And Bob has gone live, so that is where we're going to head off to. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar, Bob Breen is a very fine UK streamer who usually streams Minecraft. I don't personally think I've seen him stream anything else, but I'm very happy to support him. Part of the Dadcraft community as well. Yeah, he's part of the Dadcraft community. So I was looking to see if the tiles had names on them, but they don't. They just show pictures. So we're going to head on over to Bob, give him all our best, and I want to say thank you to everybody who came through. I will be back again now. Let's see, I believe it's 8 p.m. Eastern. My aim, across my fingers, is to be on, like, hit go right at that spot. Possibly a couple of minutes ahead. We'll see how things go, because my watch and everybody else's watch seems to be a little different. And no, I don't refer to the fact that I'm being late. I mean, as in, let's say I start at 10 a.m. and the clock says 9:57 and I'm racing down the stairs. I sit down at the computer and it says 10:03. But both sets of clocks are set to atomic time elsewhere on the planet, so who knows. Anyway, I will see you guys this evening. Let's go say hello to Bob. So this evening, last piece is the Java server for Dadcraft 73 community is having our first dragon fights. I think there's a few portals being opened. I haven't done quite the math. I and many of the others are not geared up, so thankfully we have some lovely donations from the community coming in so we can participate. And it'll be chaotic. Not a whole lot of feedback, but you're welcome to come in, and we'll do our best to keep up the chat as appropriate. Yeah, I guess that's about it for the story. If I don't see you for that, then I will try again on Monday. Have yourselves a fantastic evening and a fantastic weekend, and let's get this raid started.
Mischief managed.
Mischief indeed managed. All right. Emote backwards. Lovely. We had wonderful raids today from ITT Tom and Marvelous Tay. Appreciated very, very much. Also, thank you very much, Lightning Builder, for the new follow. We appreciate the clue spending we had today. And our moderation team today included Fantastic Sherlock Fox and the fine Zerk. And we had conversation from Gary, ITT Tom, Zeroed, CK Grapes, Minneapolis Mel, Swanky Potato, Marvelous Tay, M. Binda, and Lightning Builder. If you were just chilling and hanging out, you're always welcome to drop in, drop out, do what you need. I appreciate it. And let's give Bob our best. Bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.